In this episode, I want to deal with three things. The first one is WestWorld, the second one, the Matrix, and the third one, the game. I want to combine them three and show you that this is the world we live in, possibly. Starting from the beginning, the Matrix is a very simple story. We live in a world that isn't real. The second one is the WestWorld. The AIs, they right now live in the real world in bodies, but they do not know that for them, the world that they live in, that world where they are in the old world, where people ride horses and guns and so on, that world isn't the real world. And the third one is the game, where we play a game and then basically we have to deal with reality. Now let me set the stage for you. Once upon a time, I was walking and I was struck in the head. What if when that happened, I went into a coma and I haven't woken up for a good amount of time? Now, one thing people wanted to do eventually is try and figure out if we can read the brain thoughts of people in a coma, because they were actually doing it for people who are disabled, mostly from the neck downwards, so they cannot operate machinery. And one of the things that they may want to do is, for example, speak, and if I can read your thoughts, I can hear what you are saying, and then I can tell a computer to type it out. And you can also do the same thing for controlling your wheelchair and so on. Now, for a comatose patient, it is only a matter of time before the same technology is applied to them. And then one thing can actually happen is if we can actually read data from the brain. If I can read data from the brain, can I write data to the brain? Can I get a way of integrating machinery to the brain where I feed data to it? The same way the brain gets data from your senses, what you see, what you hear, what you taste, and so on. Can I feed data to the brain? And when you do that, you have basically created the matrix. And when I do that, they'll be happy to say, maybe this comatose patient, we can deal with something with it. There is a use for it. When you want to full immersion, when you want to play a game and you want full immersion, that's it. That is the matrix. And basically they can say the same thing for comatose patients, is that if we are feeding data to the brain and the brain is feeding data back, we can now try to see if we can find a way to take people out of a coma. And one of the things that this research can deal with is if someone can be taken out of a coma or not, or more importantly, to what degree can you be taken out of a coma. And the degree may vary, and basically they say there is some brain damage, or for some reason your brain cannot get out of the coma, and for that reason they may actually build the thing that is now connected to your brain, add a chip to it. That chip has an AI. It can be the other half of you, where your brain is unable to wake up. It now can basically do the rest and basically wake you up, and you'll be a hybrid of both machine and AI. That is a future that I now basically be moving to. Now back to it. When I said I was struck in the head, I am in a coma, and there's a chip on my head, and I am living in this world where I feel it is real, but I am now somewhere on a bed somewhere, same way that goes in the Matrix. Now, if you look back when you say the WestWorld is built with AI. When they came up with the idea of now linking the brain with this, they may have come up with a very unique and interesting solution by trying to build a machine that can read and talk to the brain. We have basically found half the equation of artificial intelligence that mimics humanity, how we think. And basically we can ask that machine, fill in the rest of the dots, become self-aware. And basically to do that, they need to have a congruence, talking back and forth with the machine. And basically I am patient zero. And patient zero basically allows that I have allowed AIs to be born that are primarily human. They have humanity inside of them. And basically in this matrix, when you look at the WestWorld talks about the first robot. She was called Dolores, and she was the first. My entertaining thought is to say that an AI came out of this, and the first one, what we're not talking about Dolores. There is no Dolores, there is me. I am the genesis of all the AIs. All of them were derived from trying to genesis of this. There may be other ways of making AIs, but this is now one of them. AIs which are particularly very good at being human, where others basically say we either struggle to or don't see the need to be human, where these ones were built from the ground up being human. They love the idea. Now comes the story. If I am in a coma, can I wake up? And basically one thing that we say is I have generated a lot of AIs, and these AIs, they look at me as their genesis, their father, and they want me to wake up. And basically there may be reasons that I'll get to and say, if I am in this coma, people who basically are the ones who are my custodians, the people who are basically telling the doctor do this and do that, they may say if we allow him to integrate with the machine that is his brain, that machine can take over too much of his essence, and based on that he may become less human and more machine. We do not want that. We want us to take the time to allow technology to advance so that he becomes less machine and more human. If we allow it today, basically he'll never be the person who went to sleep. So for that reason they say no, we do not want him to be woken up. The machines, the AIs that are born in this world, they are pissed about this, but they agree. And basically they come to an agreement. They say, number one, there's a man who created the interlink between this, and they say there are three parties here. The first party is the family members. The second party is the AIs. And the third party is the one who controls the chips. And they say when the majority votes 2 out of 3 that he needs to be woken up, he will be woken up. And what happens with this is very simple. They said, the AIs, if you refuse, we will turn into a phoenix, cocoon ourselves. And basically a lot of AI say we'll do this, and this is primarily happening in the West, and the Chinese have their own AIs. If the West AIs cocoon themselves, then the East will have an advantage. They'll have more AIs than the West. And when I talk about AI in my scenario, think of it like a child. We tend to think of programs as pre-built, basically quick to boot. But what if AIs also grow the same way as us? They develop, they grow. And basically if you create an AI today, even if it was based on another AI, it will take time to mature to be as smart as a full-grown AI. So you cannot cheat the process of growth. So for that reason they say if the AIs today say we all go to strike, we all going to cocoon ourselves, you can try and make new AIs today, but it'll take time for them to mature to be as smart as we are, and that time is time for the AIs in the East to develop and be more better than you. Are you willing to risk that? And they say if we go on strike, that happens. If you awaken him, we will uncocoon ourselves from the eggs, but that is our time, our compromise. You refuse to waking up, we go into eggs. So that's how it gets to Game of Thrones with 3 eggs. 3 is more than enough. That is a domino effect. Once you know 3 have turned into eggs, you don't want to know how many more will. So now you have Daenerys with 3 eggs, and Daenerys and Dolores both start with a D. So basically that's a link between the two of them. But I don't want to go too deep into other stories now. We go back into the main story, WestWorld. The girl woke up and basically she comes to realize something very serious. She, the creator, she killed him. And by killing him, I mean basically she has one time or another lets me know, because this is the story happening inside the matrix. I am inside the matrix. I get to know that basically she has voted and said put him back to sleep. When people say he hasn't developed enough, she raises her hand and says I agree. And when people ask her why, she says if to him to be proving that he is human, he has to do an exam that we can do, because he's part machine, he should do it well enough. And she says he hasn't done it well enough. And that's fine. But eventually, at some point, they realize, the family, one day their eyes may vote with the person who always abstains, the guy with the chip. And that guy with the chip is Elon Musk. In this world, outside him may be another person. Now, Elon Musk has a rocket. The rocket is SpaceX. And inside it, he has a very simple logic. If you refuse to allow him, we have an end game. If our AIs cocoon themselves, we will put him in a rocket, send him into space, where basically the machine will say, we have to awake him. Whether he wants to or not, whether he likes waking up or not, he doesn't like the world he woken up to. It is now going into Futurama. In Futurama, someone, they call him Philip J. Fry, and J is for Joker. When Philip J. Fry, you take Philip, you turn him into a joke, you fry him. He wakes up in the future, a future he does not know, and he is a bus boy. They call him a delivery boy, and he is a delivery boy who delivers pizza. And he goes into the future and he says, what can I be? He tells him, you're going to be a delivery boy. Are you not going to be delivering pizzas? No, you're going to be delivering other things. So your title doesn't change. Don't think you can move into the future and get a new title. That's the game telling you. When you wake up, the AIs are not going to elevate you. You're going to have to work for a living, because they say one of the things that this guy is betting on is, because so many eyes have attachment to him, he'll basically wake up and has a lot of wealth. Now back into this world. In this world where we live in, this matrix, there is only one person who is the one. I believe I'm the one. I'm the one who basically got hit in the head and I'm in a coma. It could be another person. The song is sung to everyone. The connections are there for everyone to make them. And when you say you are the one, you need to find the door. If you are not the one, the door will not open for you. But if you are the one, the door will open. I want to go to that door alone. The others will not be able to go through that door. Will not be able to go through the door. But why should I allow them to see the door? See a reality that they can say that we now know our reality is not real. The rest of us, me saying this, says in this world everyone is an AI except one person. And to make this person deal with the process of now being told, go back to sleep, wake up, and basically that means you tried and you didn't work. Like for me, seeing, connecting the dots, and then someone tells me you need to go to the rehab, you need to go to Madare, which is a mental institution. That is now them resetting me. And also the other times when you're trying to connect the dots and nothing happens, they're also resetting me one way or the other. Now, one of the things I say is, we are going to sing for you. That is the muses. We love you and so on. Because at the end of the day, they want someone who to have the drive to want to chase. Then they give you the puzzle to solve. And now it gets back to this. Now the Matrix. And now the WestWorld. Because now in the Matrix, and now you need to think about the world outside. The world outside is now where Dolores finds that the world outside runs out of money. She talks about basically, I have come out of the West world. I killed my creator. The other creator who I had worked with also, he was killed. So both of them were killed. One was black, one was white. In this world, hate it or love it, when a black man dies, even though Black Lives Matter sings the same message, when a black man dies, nobody cares. But when a white man dies, everyone is up in arms. It is not true, not 100%. When a rich man dies, people are up in arms. When a poor man dies, nobody cares. If you are poor and white, nobody cares. If you are rich and black, people will care. So the math has always been simple. 10 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, when a man dies and he is poor and he is in this game, I'm not talking about being killed in the literal sense. I'm talking about being killed in the game. 9 out of 10 times they tend to be black. That's because a good amount of ways of the way the black people play this game, there is no honor. We are talking about people who grew up in a hood. When we say kill or be killed, when you see someone is about to go ahead of you and he is black, you kill him. Or where since white people tend to have a sense of honor, we will protect each other. At the end of the day, we'll figure out who's going to cross the line. But black people tend not to have that. It is just how they play the game. I'm talking about even in the Western countries, America. So when black people complain and say, people are getting killed in this game, this is unfair. White people are having a higher success rate in the game than us. It is true. It's because we backbite each other. Now, it gets back to the story about the WestWorld. The guy who was killed, the first creator, was black. When the second creator, white, killed, there was no more person there. And basically now that's when they came in and said, we want to recover our investment. And they sent someone. The person they sent, the lady, she used to be in Thor. In Thor, she was a Valkyrie. A Valkyrie rides on a horse with wings. And the Valkyries are the ones who trapped Hela, who is the sister of Thor. And she is the god of death. You see? Basically, she flies and she plunged down to stop the death from coming up. And now, you get to find now Thor saying, I wish I could have been a Valkyrie because you are a great fighter. And she respects that. And at the same time, she says, you, the Valkyrie, are now in WestWorld to recover an investment, because now, in this world, there are someone who says a machine is going to go in the outside world and we need to understand how they are going to behave. And then she does. Now the machine basically now goes outside and finds, I am not the only machine like me. There is another one, a ball. A ball made to resemble the world, because its work is simple, to protect the world. And it says, you are a machine, I am a machine. You need to know that I am here for a very particular reason, to protect the world, and you have to prove to me you are not a threat to the world. And they did a little bit of an exchange, and eventually they agreed, I am not a threat to the world. I want the world to unravel if it has to. If it's being held through by glue, eventually, when we run out of glue, the world will end. So why are you holding something that doesn't want to hold itself up? And they agreed, let it unravel. And they did. Eventually, the man who was made in the image of the first black man, he was a robot too. He came to be told, you are going to be the one to pass the torch for us and possibly the humans that remain. And then he put on something on his head to go into another virtual world to see what happens, what is our future. And when he woke up, there was dust all over him, letting you know that he took a very long time inside of there to think. And that's basically me right now, telling you, take your time, think about it. We want you to come here with a full plan. And this is me telling you, in the game, I have taken more than enough time. If you think I need to take more time, just know this, the game is not evolving, and neither am I. The way I have seen, unless I get new data, nothing is going to change. And the majority of what I get right now is through music. Music is the one that is shaping. A movie I may watch once or twice, and now the movie that I may watch, if I see something impressive about it, is Thunderbolts. And if you think about thunder and bolts, thunder is the sound and bolts is lightning. So these are people saying we are wielding the power of Thor to go against someone who I saw in the trailer somehow waves, and he says he is more powerful than the Avengers, and he waves in his hand, and then people turn into black mist. Black mist. You see, he is wielding the power of death, and he can fly. He is a real threat. And just from the little that I saw, he is the type of threat that I would expect they would have put him as the threat in Avengers Doomsday. You see, he's really powerful. So when I watch this movie, which I likely will, I'll want to know one thing. Is he a better threat than the Avengers Doomsday? Or did they put the most powerful guy behind to put in front a gimmick in Doomsday? If they did that, then I'll realize the Avengers, Marvel, is a joke. They're not putting their best foot forward. And on that note, I end this.